Yo, what is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to a very special edition of the Hfwb podcast series. That is the Health, Fitness, Wealth Business podcast series. I am your host, Clifton Pope, and I'm back at it with another solo episode of a brand new season. I want to give a special shout out to Miss Yvonne Ascension, aka Miss Vonnie Smiles herself, for basically gracing the HFWB podcast series as far as just being the official guest for the 100th episode of the HFWB podcast series. Much love to her and a shout out to her especially. Today is October the 20th, 2023. It is about 8:34 p.m. currently as I'm recording this episode. And at the same time, for those who are listening to this episode, wherever you may be, however you may be listening to it, whether you're watching the video version on YouTube, which by the way, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, Health, Fitness, Wealth Business on YouTube, all lowercase, so you could subscribe to that. Or if you're listening to this episode audio version, whether it's on Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you could stream a podcast from audio-wise, I appreciate y'all for taking time out of your day, again, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, as far as streaming this current episode and at the same time downloading this episode as well. Much love to everybody who really just supports the HFWB podcast series for what it is. It's just all about providing updates as far as what's going on in the world of not only myself, but HFWB and everything. And most importantly, just providing you the information and valuable resources, not only from myself, but from people who I continue to bring on as guests on my podcast, as far as just giving them the opportunity to basically tell their story, because you never know who can be listening, because there could be someone who can be inspired by a particular person based off of their gift, talent, skill, passion, whatever the case may be, as far as who comes on my podcast and explains their overall story on why they love doing what they're doing and how far they have come as individuals to where they are currently, and how much more they have to go to, of course, strive to continue to get better and continue to improve within itself. So that's kind of the whole theme of the HFWB podcast series. For those who are listening for the very first time, information is the new money. And I say that because everyone who listens to the podcast before has heard this many, many times, but for those who are brand new listening to the HFWB podcast series, the theme is information is the new money. And the reason why I say that, yes, we're always worrying about the actual dollar bill, we're worried about job security, we're worried about safety, we're worried about all these things, right? But if you strip away money out of the equation, right, you're left with two things. You're left with time and you're left with information. If you got time and information on your side to help you continue to grow and get better and grow through what you go through, you're 2/3 of the way there as far as generating revenue and income to where you can create not only some sort of like financial security and financial independence, but at the same time, you'll even be a couple of steps closer to establishing financial freedom, to where you could establish generational wealth and break that generational curse and conquer not only all the bills on a regular basis, which we all have to deal with on a monthly, yearly basis, however your cycle is as far as paying bills, but at the same time, you're establishing groundwork as far as to where you can pay off debt, like from credit card debt to school debt to any kind of debt that you may be dealing with, to where you can start breaking down these generational curses and overcoming them, to where you could create generational wealth, not only for yourself as an individual, but for your family, your significant other one, and maybe the next generation to come, as far as like your children, for those parents who are listening, and of course your children's children. And we can just keep that cycle going, and we can reverse that generational curse to where we can turn it into generational wealth. That's the overall concept of health, fitness, wealth, business, and the overall theme and concept that I bring within this HFWB podcast series every single time. And for everybody who's listening, this is episode 101, episode 101. I'm truly grateful to say that I've made even 100 episodes of the HFWB podcast series. And looking back at it, it's like the whole idea of me having a podcast, to be quite honest, for those brand new who are listening, many people who've listened before have probably heard me say this, or maybe it's been a while since they've heard me say this. So let me take y'all down a trip down memory lane and give y'all some friendly reminders here. The whole purpose of me creating a podcast was just to get my brand and company out there a little bit more, which is health, fitness, wealth, business. Let me say that again, because there's a lot of people who always mess up the name within itself, and that bothers me tremendously because I try to make it as catchy as possible to where it sticks with you. So I'm going to say this again very slowly a couple times. Health, fitness, wealth, business. Now I'm going to repeat this one more time for those listening so they can get this right every time. Health, fitness, wealth, business. Because there's a lot of people who always like to say health, fitness, wellness, business. They confuse wellness with wealth, which I really don't understand within itself. So I'm going to set the record straight for everybody listening to this episode of the podcast. It's health, fitness, wealth, business. Now, the whole concept of me making this podcast, again, is just to get that name out there. Health, fitness, wealth, business. So I was thinking to myself, how can I get my message across as far as what I want to say, as far as my overall beliefs, values, and help tell the story of what I'm doing overall as an entrepreneur and now a personal trainer and former pharmacy technician at Walgreens, all that good stuff. But that was the whole purpose of me putting together this podcast, was just me just trying to get my views, beliefs, values, and overall opinions mixed in with a little bit of factual evidence as far as everything in the health world, the wellness world, the business world, how you can, of course, generate, of course, better health within your own life and figure out ways on how you can create different multiple streams of income, tips on how you can get passive income out there and stuff like that. And at the same time, just be the best version of yourself that you can be, and just tips and tricks on how you can know yourself, know your worth, and overall just continue to overcome the obstacles, the difficulties, the challenges, and trials and tribulations that you face in your life on a regular basis. Because if you say that you don't go through any of those things, you're an absolute liar, and honestly, you're full of shit. So that shouldn't even be the case, you know what I'm trying to say when it comes to that for the most part. But overall, that's the whole purpose of everybody who's currently brand new to the podcast, who's wondering, well, what is the Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business podcast series? Well, basically, it's giving me my chance to, of course, say what I have to say as far as what I believe, as far as the overall concept of health is wealth, and, of course, generational health plus generational wealth equals blessings on blessings, aka health, wealth, knowledge of self. That's pretty much the entire core of health, fitness, wealth, business as a whole, and that's kind of the message that I'm spreading on with my podcast within itself. And at the same time, if I like as far as what you're doing, as far as not only within the community of Corpus Christi, Texas, but anywhere across the state of Texas, anywhere across the country, anywhere across the world, if you have a passion for something, if you have a skill, if you have a gift and you have a talent that you like to showcase to the world, and you just want more people to be aware of it to where they can follow you, and of course you could continue to tell your own story while you continue to make his story in your own life, the HFWB podcast series is the place for you. I'm looking for anybody who's willing just to tell a story, because we all have a story to tell. We all have ups and downs. We all have trials and tribulations. We all went through the good times, the bad times, the ugly times. I want to bring all that together and give opportunity to see what they can do, what they can't do, And if they can't do certain things, find ways on how they can turn what they can't do into what they can do, and just learn from everybody's mistakes, and just learn from everybody's experiences, because you never know who may be listening. There could be someone anywhere across the world, from like Germany, Brazil, Japan, France. I mean, literally anywhere across the world, anywhere across the country, because I kid you not, for those who don't know, there have been people worldwide who download the HFWB podcast series, and I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. Surprisingly, I have a little bit of an unexpected fan base in Frankfurt, Germany, and it's kind of like I think of that Drake line in that one song. I want to say, I forget what the name of the song is. I want to say it's the 30 for 30 freestyle. I could be wrong on that. Please don't quote me, but I remember the Drake lyrics said, 7 a.m. in Germany, I can't believe they heard of me. Every time I look at the downloads from that, I always think that exactly. It's like, man, I can't believe I have people in Germany, out of all places, downloading my podcast. I mean, I've had people from like Canada, Japan, Brazil, you name it, anywhere across the country as well, from the East Coast, the West Coast, down south. The HFWB podcast series is worldwide now. For those who don't know, now you do know. But enough about bragging about, of course, what the HFWB podcast series is about. I figured I record this solo episode on this Friday evening, this feel-good Friday evening at this matter, just to bring y'all up to speed as far as what's been going on within the last 2 months since the last time I recorded a solo episode. Well, the love of my life, Miss Emily Espinosa, she officially turned 30 years old last month in September, on her birthday, September the 1st. Following that, her niece, the lovely Tori, or her name is, of course, Eternity, but we call her Tori in the family. She had a birthday right after that. And, looking back at the month of September, of course, like in any other month, there's been some ups and downs and all that stuff. I've kind of been laying a little bit low lately as far as from all the networking events and stuff like that, because for those who don't know, I'm also not only the founder and CEO of Health, Fitness, Wealth Business. Not only am I a personal trainer, not only am I a self-published author of 2 books that are on Amazon right now, What's Wealth Without Work and Dollar and a Vision. By the way, you can go buy both of those books right now that are currently on Amazon. You could buy What's Wealth Without Work for $10. You could buy Dollar and a Vision for $15. Or you can visit my website, healthfitnesswealthbusiness.com/CP. That way you can basically order both of those books from my website directly if you don't feel like going on Amazon and stuff like that, which is fine. So either way, it'll take you there. But overall, it's been some ups and downs through the month of September as far as, despite all those things that I do as far as being a personal trainer, entrepreneur, podcaster, motivational speaker. I'm also the treasurer for the Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce, and I'm also part of the associate board of directors for Mission of Mercy. So much stuff has been going on despite the fact that I have been laying low just a little bit, And yes, ever since the sneaker ball that the Corpus Christi Black Chambers have had in the month of September, earlier in the month, last September I should say, I've kind of been laying low a little bit, and for certain reasons. The Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce, we were planning on having our annual banquet, but then there was already multiple events going on within the city that were trying to have events at the same time, trying to minimize the efforts of the Corpus Christi Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm not going to say the names of those organizations, but, let's just say that they're trying to do everything that they can to minimize our effort to try to soar to new heights. And you know what? We were going to do it still despite all that. But the one thing that kind of basically set everything back tremendously, and I just wanted to get this off the record. I love Lil Wayne. I love Lil Wayne tremendously. He's one of my favorite rap artists ever. I get it, He has to do what he has to do to make money. It's just the timing of him announcing that he's going to have a concert here literally the same day as the banquet we were planning on having our banquet, which is Friday, November the 17th. Lil Wayne decides he wants to not only announce that he's going to have a concert here in Corpus Christi, Texas at the American Bank Center, which everybody in the city is going to go to. I remember when I saw that update on Facebook one day, I had to reach out to our vice president of the Black Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Curtis Clark, and tell him about this. He thought I was joking until I showed him the actual post and everything. And when I saw that, I was like, well, so much for the annual banquet, you know? So we basically, long story short, we had to postpone the 80th anniversary of the Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce Gala / annual awards banquet because of the Lil Wayne concert being on the same day. Because realistically, you know, you're thinking Lil Wayne concert or the 80th anniversary gala for the Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce from the black community perspective. Most people are going to choose the Lil Wayne concert every single time. I mean, that's just kind of obvious, and we all kind of came to a decision within the board meeting to where we as a board decided, hey, we're just going to cancel this. We're going to postpone it to next year, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything works out our way. So ever since that decision was made, I kind of just decided to, you know, fall back a little bit, scale back a little bit and stuff, and just kind of focus on doing my own thing and stuff like that, which is sometimes the best decision. That way you're not getting so caught up in what's going on within the community and stuff. But other than that, I've kind of been dealing with some ups and downs within that, and I've just kind of just been getting back to my own roots as far as just embracing my own fitness journey, continuing to train all of my personal training clients and stuff like that. And that's another thing. For those who are interested in personal training with yours truly, Clifton Pope, founder and CEO of Health, Fitness, Wealth Business, I can show you step by step on why primal pattern movement, as far as the importance of, like, you know, executing functional exercises using all the 7 primal pattern movements, which is pull, push, lunge, squat, hinge, gait, and rotation. And of course, I'll break all those down. Of course, pulling motion, that's when, of course, you're using all the pulling muscles as far as like majority of your back muscles, your biceps, a little bit of your rear deltoids, your back shoulder muscles and stuff, and of course your trapezius, which is of course your neck muscles and stuff. Those are in play tremendously within most of the pulling exercises. Because when you think of the pulling retraction, you're literally starting out as far as extending out, and it starts with your lats primarily, which is the largest muscles in your back. And when you feel that retraction as you're pulling in within every movement, you're feeling it from your lat to your bicep all the way to your forearm. That's just a primary example. For instance, when you're doing like a single cable row, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about as far as the exact movement, for example. Then you have, of course, the lunge. You have the lunge to where you go forward and you're stepping forward into a lunge. I always like to tell all my personal training clients this. Just imagine you're walking down a trail and you see like a big old tree that's in the middle of the trail, right? You're not going to just keep on walking through. You're not going to walk through that tree because you're going to trip and fall over it. You're going to have to take a big step over it and kind of go into a lunge to where it's like your front leg and your back leg are kind of like at a 90-degree angle position based on the forward movement of the lunge or the reverse movement of the lunge. And then, of course, you got your squat, right? The best analogy for a squat that I've been taught and I've been trained is just imagine yourself being in the woods and you have to take basically a shit in the woods. How else are you going to do that? You're going to squat all the way down, utilizing your quadriceps, the largest muscles in your legs, along with your knees. You're going to squat all the way down, and you're basically going to let it all out and do a number 2, so to speak, right? So that's kind of the best concept of doing the perfect squat, which is basically just keeping your back straight the whole time as much as possible, keeping your heels glued onto the ground, and you're just going down for a 1, 2, 3 count, inhaling as you go down, exhaling as you go up. That's how you perform a squat. Then, of course, we got the pushing motion, where you're utilizing all your major chest muscles, your pec majors, your pec minor muscles. You're utilizing your front deltoids, which is of course your front shoulder muscles and bones and stuff like that. And the thing that gets overlooked the most, I feel like, within all the muscle groups is your triceps, because you're not going to be able to, your triceps is very critical within every pushing exercise, whether it's bench press, overhead press, whatever you name it. How else are you going to straighten out your arms as you're pushing the weight up? You're not going to be able to do that without your triceps, right? Which is why triceps is very beneficial to overall arm development, because triceps make up 2/3 of your arm. I don't think people realize that. People want to focus on having bigger biceps when in reality they need to be having bigger triceps to complement those bigger biceps. But that's a whole nother thing. Then of course you got your hip hinge. You know, your hips are so important as far as just factoring in your rotational twist and just factoring in all the movements as far as bending down and lifting yourself back up. You got to have strong hips, which is why stuff like hip bridges or anything that any exercise that involves like a hip hinge, like deadlifts and stuff like that, that's where hip hinges come into play and stuff. And I want to give a special shout out to a good friend of mine. Her name is Ashley Chapa with ANC Fitness and Yoga. She told me some great advice as far as your hips, your core, and your glutes are the 3 most important muscle groups to have strengthened at all times. And I remember when she told me that one time when we were in a yoga class together, just me and her, one-on-one style. It didn't click with me at the moment, but as I'm going through the personal training world and as I'm training my own clients and I'm seeing all of this come into play, it all starts to make a little bit of sense. And then of course, speaking of rotation, you know, you got to have that little rotational movement as far as like within every exercise. For instance, if you do like a lunge with a forward lunge with a twist, or if you do like any kind of exercise that involves twisting your hips from side to side, it helps out with your core and of course affecting your transverse abdominis to where it straightens all that out and stuff like that. And then of course you have to factor in your gait, you know, that helps out with getting your blood flowing, you know, walking, running, jumping, you know, doing steps, exercises that involve steps, you know, like dumbbell step-ups or step-ups that include like a bicep curl or any type of regular functional exercise into it, you know. The primal pattern movement is what you're going to get out of training with yours truly with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, because that is the key to overall functional development within your own body and to help inspire not only muscle growth, but at the same time inspire you to lose inches, which leads to you losing weight. And at the same time, you're building up energy and vitality within yourself by incorporating the power of the breath, by breathing in, as you say, go down for a bench press, or exhale as you're pushing up from that bench press, or inhaling as you're going down for your squat, exhaling as you're coming up from your squat, or for instance, inhaling when you're going down for the deadlift, exhaling when you're coming up. It's just incorporating the power of that breath through proper breathing, as far as just inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose, or my favorite, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth for like an ocean breathing effect to where it's like, or you can do nostril breathing to where you're inhaling, holding one nostril, inhaling, exhaling. That's a good kind of breathing technique to where it helps out lowering your heart rate and stuff like that. You'll learn proper breathing techniques. You'll learn the importance of recovery as far as doing basic static stretching after recovery. Mainly working, basically what I mean by static stretching is, say for instance, we work out our biceps, our back, and our rear delts on a pull day, for instance. We'll basically do some recovery stretches, basically like focusing on those exact muscles. Like for instance, we'll do like a crossbody stretch, or we'll do something like where we'll do the thread the needle stretch and at the same time push our hips back to where it's kind of like a cross kind of like a child's pose in a way, at the same time threading the needle and stretching out your shoulder primarily. Stuff like that, because people get so caught up in lifting weights and exercising, and that's good and everything. You're doing half of the process at best, but at the same time, it's the recovery. It's like the yoga, it's the massage therapy, it's stuff like that, utilizing the foam roll, the medica ball, and just putting in time as far as just overall repairing the muscles that you tear down within every single exercise. So my overall point is, if you or anyone listening to the HFWB podcast series is interested in signing up for the HFWB personal training program, you can give me a call at 361-765-4760, or you can email me, all lowercase, CPOPE for cpope.cp@gmail.com, to where you can message me for a free one-on-one consultation, to where we can put together a program, based on the goals that you're trying to achieve, to where you can achieve better results in a timely manner. Whether it's losing weight, gaining muscle, building up more energy, or just overall establishing a healthier lifestyle with a holistic approach to where you can be the healthiest, happiest, whole individual that you can be. And at the same time, overall, another thing that for people who don't know, me and the love of my life, special shout out to the love of my life, Emily Espinosa, we kind of agreed and we're kind of like working together to push the overall importance of sea moss now. We're basically selling sea moss gel on top of that as well. And sea moss gel, I will say, is very effective. It does have its perks. It does have its benefits. As a matter of fact, I'm bringing up some perks and benefits right now on my phone for those who are listening to the audio version. It's like sea moss is like so effective in many ways, because it's like it contains 92 minerals, 92 vitamins and minerals that the body needs. It promotes a healthy thyroid. It supports a healthy heart. It promotes good digestion. It helps maintain a healthy weight. It's a good post-workout recovery supplement. It helps out with hair, skin, and nails. It supports a healthy immune system and everything. And it's like I said, sea moss, often referred to as Irish moss. For those who are basically wondering what sea moss is, it's often referred to as Irish moss. It has, again, a wide range of benefits that support good health. And at the same time, it's often used to thicken smoothies, make yummy sauces. It can be a gelatin alternative in raw food recipes, and so much more. You could even apply it on your skin, like I mentioned, as a topical application and stuff like that. And I mentioned that you could even put it like in your coffee. You could put it in your tea. You could put it in your smoothie. You could put it in a bowl of oatmeal. You could do so many things with sea moss, and it's such a wonderful aquatic plant. It's like a nice little natural Irish seaweed and stuff like that basically originated from the islands of Jamaica, and now it's here within this country, to where it's a natural alternative healing substance that will literally heal you from within. Oh, and by the way, it helps provide relief from cold and flu-like symptoms. And yes, it is the month of October, which means that we're in fall season now, and it's only going to get cooler. It may not get all the way cool to where, because we are in South Texas. For those who are wondering where I'm at, I'm located in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I will say we rarely have like really cold winters, other than the deep freeze that took place 2 years ago in 2021, which is another story within itself. My overall point is, you need to get you some sea moss gel. I do have sea moss gel for sale. That's a new endeavor that I've been indulging in, and that's only the beginning of the sea moss operations. I plan on doing like sea moss oil very soon. I plan on doing a body wash, maybe even getting into some gummies, but that's for down the road. But currently at the moment, sea moss gel is where it's at. Myself, you can message myself. You can message my wonderful girlfriend, Emily Espinosa, for your order today. We're selling sea moss gel by the jar for $25. We have the original flavor, and we also have fruit flavors for those who prefer fruit mixed in with the sea moss gel, which is pretty good too. We have our mixed berry sea moss gel. We have tropical mango sea moss gel. And we also have strawberry lemon sea moss gel. As a matter of fact, as soon as I finish this podcast episode, I'm actually about to go make another batch of sea moss gel. So what I'm trying to say is you need to message either myself or Emily Espinosa for your order of sea moss gel. That way we can continue to provide you with a natural alternative to help heal yourself from within, and at the same time basically take advantage and take control of your health, because you're worrying about your career so much, but have you ever stopped to think about your health for a moment? This sea moss gel can be the first thing that can help you get yourself back on track towards healthier living, and factoring in that holistic approach to where you train your mind and then the body will follow. It'll be like a game changer for you. I'm telling you. I've incorporated the sea moss gel myself within my own smoothies that I make, and I've even had it in my oatmeal within myself. And the one thing that I could tell you that I've noticed off the top is that I have so much energy in me. I've always been a very energetic person within itself, but I feel like this sea moss has just given me new levels of energy that I never thought I had within myself. And considering the fact that I'm pretty much working out every single day, it's a great post-workout recovery supplement. It helps relieves joint pain. It helps relieve muscle pain from a natural alternative. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss out on this. So I just want to throw that out there as a public service announcement. Yours truly, Clifton Pope from Health, Fitness, Wealth Business, along with Emily Espinosa, also with Health, Fitness, Wealth Business. We are selling sea moss gel by the jar in 4 flavors: original, mixed berry, tropical mango, and strawberry lemon. $25 by the jar. Message us for your order today. That way you can get those necessary vitamins and minerals, 92 to be exact, that the body needs. And it's a natural alternative, and there's no sugar or artificial sweeteners or preservatives or any of that other bullshit that they try to throw into food and try to call it food, but it's really just a bunch of garbage, and they sprinkle a bunch of sugar on it to make it seem like it's something, when in all actuality it's just going to make you fat and slowly kill you in the process. But I'm not going to get into all that for now. But I will say this. Going forward, I will be breaking down sea moss a little bit more in different podcast episodes going forward. That way I can educate you on the importance of it. And I'm going to basically make probably a podcast episode and probably a series on this. As a matter of fact, you heard it here first. Look out for the official sea moss segment series on the Hfwb podcast series going forward. And I will literally dedicate a podcast episode breaking down each specific benefit of sea moss gel. That way I can make sure y'all understand this tremendously on how important it is and how much it can benefit you, just like it's benefiting myself. It's benefiting the love of my life, Miss Emily Espinosa. It's also benefiting my parents, a couple of my family members, a couple of my personal training clients. If I can do it, so can you. It's pretty much all there is to it with that. But other than that, and also another thing I want to throw out there as far as what y'all been missing out on, I'm actually training as well for my first half a marathon. Myself, along with a couple of the other trainers at Results Company's Personal Training. Shout out to Results Company's Personal Training. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Sam Hamid, who's the owner and the boss man. Appreciate you for giving me an opportunity and basically believing in me and being the best possible personal trainer. Just giving me the opportunity that no one else would have given me, especially someone who had little to no experience and kind of molding me into the personal trainer that I am within the whole system and everything. Special shout out to Sam. Special shout out to the general manager, Miss Lauren. Much love to y'all as well. But anyways, back to the whole point. Myself, Chris Wilson, Coralyn Fuller, and of course the lovely Jen, we are all coming together. Well, All of us are basically going to be going to San Antonio, Texas on December the 3rd, and we're going to be participating in the Rock and Roll Marathon Series in San Antonio, Texas. They're going to be doing the full marathon because they're just beasts within their own right, and they're used to running half a marathons. They're more runners than I am. This is something brand new for me. I've ran, a 5K maybe once or twice, and running has never really been my thing, but I'm always looking for ways to get better, and I'm always looking for ways to improve within my overall fitness journey. And I feel like, honestly, I have the weight training part of it down. It's just I need to up my cardio tremendously. And what a better way to do it than to practice running a little bit more. And it just got to the point where I just started running. And then I thought to myself, thanks to valuable insight and advice that I've gotten from all those people who I mentioned that I'm doing the Rock and Roll Marathon Series with, to where it's like, hey, if they can do it, so can I. So it's like, I'm going to be running my first half a marathon. And for those who don't know the distance of half a marathon, that's 13.1 miles, while a full marathon is 26.2 or 1 miles, something like that. It's 26 miles for a marathon, 13 for a half a marathon. So I'm training my body right now to where I can get myself prepared to run a half a marathon, which is 13 miles. And then my goal for 2024, you heard it here first, one of the many goals that I have for 2024 is that I'm going to run at least one marathon in 2024. I might run two, but for sure I'm going to do one. So it's like, it's the baby steps and respecting the process throughout itself. So I'm pretty excited about that. Another thing that most people don't know that I have coming up the end of the year, I got a couple of events coming up now. I'm actually going to be participating in speaking at a conference. It's like a mind, body, and spirit conference that the Omni Hotel here in downtown Corpus Christi is putting together. I want to give a special shout out to the executive director of Mission of Mercy, Miss Sherry Bowers, who connected me to a woman named Wendy Johnson, who was organizing this whole conference at the Omni, and just giving me the opportunity to showcase what I bring to the table as far as from the overall personal training and fitness expert perspective, and just educating the public about it, and at the same time putting people through a small little exercise circuit, nothing too crazy, but just giving them a preview of why it's important to cherish your overall well-being to where you can be the happiest, healthiest, whole individual that you can possibly be through healthier living with a holistic approach. So I'll be speaking at a conference at the Omni Hotel on Thursday, November the 2nd, and that's going to be something that I'm looking forward to. And then after that, I'm going to be doing another speaking event at this cafe called Hemisphere Cafe. Special shout out to Monique Dennis, who's given me the opportunity to do that as well. And if you don't know who that is, you need to go back and listen to an episode I did with Monique Dennis when she was on my podcast last year, and we recorded it on my 29th birthday and all that stuff. So there's been a lot of things that I've been working on, but at the same time, there's so much to where I've just kind of just held in within itself. So I figured I'd bring y'all up to speed a little bit as far as what's going on within my life. As like I said, I literally just dropped my 100th episode of the Hfwb podcast series. For those who are listening to this episode, this will be episode 101. I'm truly grateful and thankful for the opportunity within itself for that. And it's just, there's plenty more to come. And I definitely plan on ending 2023 on a great note, despite all the ups and downs that's been going on with it. Things have definitely been smoothing out a little bit more this week because I'm going to be honest with y'all, since this is my podcast and honesty is the best policy. I recently was dealing with a little bit of a credit card scandal recently, the last week or so. As a matter of fact, my credit card got hacked not once, but twice, back-to-back days. And I finally got my new credit card. Thank God it hasn't been hacked yet. I finally got that replaced literally 2 days ago, so I feel a little bit more sanity within myself within that. But it's like, hey, there is one thing I learned. Them scammers and them hackers are ruthless, and they will do anything to literally fuck your life up. And that's just the point blank truth behind it. And I'm sorry for all the occasional profanity that I've said throughout this episode of the podcast, but honestly, that's how I talk when I'm not recording the podcast, and I figured I'd be more real and I'd be more authentic going forward within all my podcast episodes. Because, hey, I did 100 episodes now. I feel like I've earned myself a little bit of groundwork to where I pretty much can really be more authentic and be more real and be more true to you, the listener of this podcast series. Not that I wasn't before, but I'm going to definitely take on more of a real, honest, and blunt approach. And honestly, if there's profanity that slips out here and there, who cares? Because that's how mostly everybody talks. And if people don't swear, hey, more power to you. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with slipping out a few cuss words here and there, because it helps express how you really feel, and it helps make the situation and what you're saying within the situation more meaningful. But other than that, that's pretty much what I wanted to bring y'all up to speed on. And other than that, I just wanted to thank y'all once again just for tuning in to another edition of the Hfwb podcast series. And also, just continue to follow the journey. You know where to find me. You can follow me on Facebook by, of course, my regular personal page, Clifton Pope. You could also follow the Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business Facebook page by typing it in, all lowercase. I'm going to say this again, Health, Fitness, Wealth, that's WEALTH, Wealth, Business, all lowercase. You can search it on Facebook, hit that like and follow button, and follow the Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business Facebook page. All lowercase as well, Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay up to date with all the latest content. You can follow me on Instagram at all lowercase CPope, CPOPE_44. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on TikTok, Health F, Wealth B, all lowercase, the word health, then the letter F, then the word wealth, then the letter B, .cp. You can follow me on my TikTok as I deliver daily and occasional motivational messages to help keep you inspired, uplifted, and empowered to where you can continue to grow through what you go through in order to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And at the same time, you can visit my website, as always, healthfitnesswealthbusiness.com/CP, my personal initials, all lowercase, to where you can stay up to date with the latest podcast episodes. You could also enroll in my entrepreneurship course, the Hustle and Motivate entrepreneurship course, which you can get access to on my website, to where for those who are already in entrepreneurship, they can become better entrepreneurs, or for those who are dibble-dabbling into it but don't know the first steps on how you can really dive into entrepreneurship, the Hustle and Motivate entrepreneurship course is the place for you to be, and you can enroll in that by visiting my website as well, or you can go on udemy.com, that's udemy.com, search Hustle and Motivate, how to activate the mind, Hustle and Motivate, Activate the Mind to the Grind course, and it'll pop up, and it'll have my face on there and everything, so you'll know which one to, of course, enroll into. And yes, anybody who's interested in enrolling in the personal training program, you can message me or call me at 361-765-4760, or shoot me an email, cpope.cp, all lowercase, at gmail.com, to where we can sit down, have a one-on-one consultation, and put together the right program to help get you on track for better results. And at the same time, message myself. You can message Emily Espinosa, the love of my life, for your order of the sea moss gel. Be on the lookout for the sea moss gel segment series that I'll be putting together, breaking down each key benefit of what you can gain out of the sea moss gel, to why it's good for you and to where it could be beneficial for you going forward. I'll probably do like maybe a 5 to 7 part series on my podcast, kind of breaking down a few benefits at a time because there is a lot. So I want to break down at least maybe 3 benefits per episode and dedicate an episode towards that, because it's like I said in the beginning, information is the new money. And the more rich you are in information, the more rich you'll be as far as creating generational health, which in turn will equal generational wealth. Hence, health is wealth, right? That's what it's all about. And it's a full circle thing, because it'll create blessings on top of blessings, not only in the present, but the future. But at the same time, the future starts now. So the blessings are already happening slowly but surely. So remember that. Other than that, I thank y'all once again for tuning in to another episode of the Hfwb podcast series. Be sure to download and stream all the episodes of the Hfwb podcast series by simply searching Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business podcast series. You can do this on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. Basically, anywhere you could stream or download an episode of any kind of podcast, that's how you could do the same thing for mine. Until next time, this is yours truly, Clifton Pope, Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business. I encourage y'all to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. Until next time, y'all, peace and love on this field.